Hello everyone, this is Samay Sankanawar. I am back with new set of videos. This time I am bringing the detailed revision of each chapter from SSLC Mathematics. Now you can also download the PPT in the form of PDF by clicking on the link provided in this video description for your future reference as notes. So without much of the delay, let's begin with our first chapter, polynomials. You have already studied about the basics of polynomials in your 9th standard. If I want to define polynomials, polynomials are the equations consisting of single type of variables systematically arranged in the decreasing order of the powers of the variables. Our first point of discussion in 10th standard in the chapter of polynomials is going to be degree of polynomial. So let us study what is degree of polynomial. If p of x is a polynomial in the variable x, the highest power of x in p of x is called the degree of that polynomial p of x. So let us understand this with an example. If I have an example 4x plus 2, in this polynomial 4x plus 2, in this polynomial x is a variable and you can see the power of x is nothing. Nothing means we have to imagine it as 1. Therefore this is a polynomial of degree 1. Coming to the second example here, 2y square minus 3y plus 4. This is a polynomial in the variable y. So in the highest power of y is 2 here, you can see. Therefore degree of this polynomial is going to be 2. Coming to the next example, 5x cube minus 4x square plus x minus 3. This is a polynomial in variable x and highest power of x in this polynomial is 3. Therefore this is an example of degree 3. Next, a polynomial of degree 1 is called linear polynomial. You can see here this is a polynomial of degree 1, therefore this is called as a linear polynomial. If I want to take an example, 2x plus 1 root 3x plus 5 etc. You can see here variables are carrying power 1, therefore they are called as what? Linear polynomials. Why they are called as linear polynomials is when we plot a graph using these equations, we get a straight line. We do not get any curve, that is a straight line, therefore they are indicated as linear polynomials. General form of these linear polynomials is going to be ax plus b, where a is going to be coefficient of x and b is a constant term. Next, a polynomial of degree 2 is called quadratic polynomial. Example, you can see here 2x square plus 3x minus 5. Here highest power of x is 2, therefore this is called as quadratic polynomial. In next example, root 3x square plus 5x. Here also you can see highest power of x here is 2, therefore this is also an example of quadratic polynomial. General form of quadratic polynomial is going to be ax square plus bx plus c, where a is coefficient of x square, b is coefficient of x and c is going to be constant term. Next, a polynomial of degree 3 is called as cubic polynomial. Examples of cubic polynomials are x cube, 3x cube minus 2x square minus 5x etc. You can see here if x is the variable, highest power of x is 3 here, therefore this is example of cubic polynomial. Here also highest power of x is going to be 3, therefore this is also an example of cubic polynomial. Now if you want to see the general form of cubic polynomial is ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d, where a is coefficient of x cube, b is coefficient of x square, c is coefficient of x and d is a constant term. Out of this b, c, d, these three terms can be 0, but a cannot be 0 here. And considering all these three general forms, a, b, c and d all are real numbers, they cannot be imaginary number. All are real numbers that exist on a number line, but in all the cases a cannot be 0. That is the one point we must remember. Let us see some important definitions from this chapter. First one is the value of p of x at x equal to k. If p of x is a polynomial in x and if k is any real number, then the value obtained by replacing x by k in p of x is called the value of p of x at x equal to k and is denoted by p of k. Let us understand what is the meaning of this by taking an example. If I consider any polynomial p of x which is given by x square minus 3x minus 4 and I want to find the value of this polynomial at x equal to 1. Now I will replace all the x terms by 1. So when I do that, I get p of 1 is equal to 1 square minus 3 into 1 minus 4. Now when I solve this, 1 square is 1, 3 into 1 is 3 and 4 is 4. I have kept it as it is. Now 1 minus 3 is minus 2 and minus 4 I have kept as it is. Now I am getting answer as minus 6. Therefore, value of this polynomial at x equal to 1 is minus 6. This is nothing but the value of p of x at x equal to k. K can be any constant term, means we are replacing x by any constant number, that is k. So after doing such replacement, whatever value I am getting, that is called as what? Value of p of x at x equal to k. Now let us go ahead with the next definition, that is 0 of a polynomial p of x. Meaning of this is, a real number k is said to be 0 of a polynomial if p of x, polynomial p of x, if p of k is equal to 0. Meaning of this is, after replacing this x by any term k or any constant value, if I am getting value of this polynomial as 0, then that value of k is called as 0 of that polynomial p of x. So let us understand this with an example. If k is a 0 of p of x, 2x plus 3, this is an example, then p of k should be equal to 0 according to this definition, which gives 2k plus 3 equal to 0. Therefore, I can obtain k value from this by shifting 3 on the right side of the equation sign and taking 2 down. Therefore, I get k value as minus 3 by 2, which means if I put k is equal to minus 3 by 2 in this equation instead of x, I will get p of x value as 0. Therefore, this value of k is called as 0 of a polynomial p of x. In general, if k is a 0 of polynomial of linear polynomial p of x, that is represented by ax plus b, then p of k is equal to ak plus b, which should be 0. Therefore, k is equal to minus b upon a. Generally, we can obtain 0 of any linear polynomial as k is equal to minus b by a, or taking the ratio of constant term to the coefficient of x with a minus sign. Let us understand the geometrical meaning of the zeros of a polynomial. If I have a linear polynomial ax plus b where a is not equal to 0, and I plot a graph of this polynomial considering y is equal to ax plus b, in that case I will get a straight line which will cut the x-axis exactly at one point, and coordinates of that point are going to be minus b by a comma 0. And among these coordinates, x coordinate of the point is considered as 0 of that polynomial. You have already seen in the previous slide how we calculate 0 of a linear polynomial. We get answer as minus b by a. Therefore, we can also see here x coordinate of point where the linear polynomial cuts the x-axis is also considered as 0 of that polynomial. Therefore, linear polynomial ax plus b has exactly 1 0. That is nothing but x coordinate of that point where that straight line cuts the x-axis. A polynomial of degree 1 can at most have 1 0. It cannot have more than 1 0. Therefore, a linear polynomial can have maximum 1 0. Next, any quadratic polynomial which is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, if I plot a graph considering y is equal to ax square plus bx plus c, it can have either of two shapes. First one is in the shape of u, which is open upwards if a value is greater than 0, or I can have a u-shaped curve open downwards if a value is less than 0. These curves are called as parabolas. Now there are multiple cases where these parabolas can cut the x-axis. It can cut the x-axis in 2 points or in 1 point, or it cannot cut the x-axis. All these three cases can be possible. Meaning of this is, wherever the curves cut the x-axis, that is called as 0 of a polynomial, and x coordinate of that point is considered as 0 of that polynomial. It can have three conditions. It can cut in 2 points, it can cut in only 1 point, or it may not cut at all. Therefore, maximum number of points these curves can cut the axis is 2. Therefore, I can conclude that a polynomial of degree 2 has at most 2 zeros. It cannot have more than 2 zeros. It can have 1 zero or it can have no zeros, but it can maximum have only 2 zeros in case of quadratic polynomials. If I consider cubic polynomial in the form ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d, where a is not equal to 0, and I plot a graph considering y is equal to ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d, it will intersect x-axis at certain points. Maximum number of points where this graph can cut the x-axis is 3. Therefore, a polynomial of degree 3 can at most have 3 zeros. It can cut the x-axis in less than 3 points, maybe in 2 points, 1 point, or it may not cut at all. In that case, it can have respectively 3, 2, 1 and 0 zeros. Therefore, maximum number of points where this graph can cut the x-axis is 3. Therefore, polynomial of degree 3 can at most have 3 zeros and not more than that. That we will be seeing in our next slide, how different types of polynomials, different degree of polynomials cut the x-axis. Let us understand the geometrical meaning of zeros of polynomials using graphs. You can see in this pic there are 3 graphs representing linear, quadratic and cubic polynomials respectively. If I consider the first graph, you can see that there is a straight line that is cutting this x-axis at one point. We are not bothered about where this x-axis is cutting at the y-axis, but we are bothered only about x-axis. You can see this straight line is cutting x-axis at only one point, and therefore x-coordinate of this point is considered as 0 of that polynomial. Next, you can see this is a quadratic polynomial. You will have a u-shaped like this. It can also be possible in the u open downwards depending on a value. Here you can see that this curve is cutting x-axis at 2 points. Therefore, there are 2 zeros of possible zeros of this polynomial, and value of that 0 is x-coordinate of these points. You can see this is a cubic polynomial. It can have a shape something like this, wherein you can see this curve is cutting x-axis at 1, 2 and 3 points. Therefore, maximum number of zeros this polynomial can have is 3. We can also have some cases where quadratic and cubic polynomials may cut the axis at only one point, or they may not cut the axis at all. In that case, we can have zeros less than respective degrees, but maximum number of zeros is going to be equal to degree of that polynomial. That is, in first graph, x-axis line is cutting x-axis at only one point, therefore only 1 zero for linear polynomial. In second graph, line is cutting x-axis at 2 points, therefore 2 zeros of quadratic polynomial, and here you can see 3 zeros of cubic polynomial. Now looking into the graph, in how many points that line is cutting the x-axis, you can decide how many zeros that respective polynomial has. You have this type of problems in the first exercise of this polynomial chapter. You can solve them to understand it better. Next important concept that we need to study in this chapter is relationship between zeros and coefficients of variable of a polynomial. Now we have studied in the previous slide that in case of quadratic and cubic polynomial, we can have multiple zeros which is greater than 1. Now, is there any common relationship between those zeros and coefficients of variables of a polynomial? Let us see that. In general, if I consider alpha and beta as the two zeros of a given polynomial p of x equal to ax square plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to 0. In that case, first relation that I can have is sum of the zeros, that is alpha plus beta is equal to minus b upon a, that is ratio of coefficient of x to the coefficient of x square with a minus sign. And second relation that I can have is product of the zeros, that is alpha and beta is equal to c upon a, that is ratio of constant term to the coefficient of x square. Meaning of this is, if I calculate zeros of given polynomial p of x, then value of sum of those zeros is nothing but ratio of coefficient of x to the coefficient of x square with a minus sign. You can see here. Similarly, product of those two zeros should be equal to ratio of constant term to the coefficient of x square. Using this you can solve multiple problems. So this can be an important relation that you must remember. If I want to consider this with an example, find the zeros of a quadratic polynomial x square plus px 7x plus 10 and verify relationship between the zeros and the coefficients. So first let us understand how to calculate the zeros. First I am considering this given polynomial, that is p of x, as it is with equal to 0 sign, because I am going to calculate the zero of that polynomial, therefore I will equate it to 0 first. Now by factorizing this I get x plus 2 and x plus 5 as the answer. Therefore out of these two, either x plus 2 can be 0 or x plus 5 can be 0, because we will get product of these two terms as 0 only when either x plus 2 is 0 or x plus 5 is 0. You can verify this. 0 into any term is 0. Here also you can be any term into 0 is going to be 0. Therefore I will equate them individually, that is x plus 2 is equal to 0 or x plus 5 is equal to 0. Therefore I get two zeros, that is x equal to minus 2 or x equal to minus 5. These are what two zeros of this given polynomial. Now let us verify these relationships of these zeros of the polynomial. First I will calculate sum of the zeros, that is alpha plus beta. I will take minus 2 as alpha and minus 5 as beta. When I take sum of those two zeros, minus 2 plus minus 5, that is going to be minus 7. This I can easily calculate from this, that is minus b upon a, where minus b is coefficient of x. You can see here minus coefficient of x is 7, that is 7 I have written here, and coefficient of x square. You can see coefficient of x square is 1 here. So you can see sum of zeros is minus 7, and here also minus 7 by 1 is nothing but minus 7. Thus I have verified this first relation. Second relation is product of zeros, that is alpha into beta. Minus 2 into minus 5, answer is going to be 10, which I can obtain from this polynomial by taking the ratio of constant term to the coefficient of x square. You can see constant term as 10, coefficient of x square is 1. Therefore 10 by 1 is nothing but 10 again, which is equal to product of the zeros. Like this you can verify the relationship between zeros and coefficient of the polynomials. This can be very important result using which you can solve multiple problems in upcoming exercises. The last important concept that we need to study in this chapter is division algorithm for polynomials. This division algorithm you have already studied in real numbers chapters. Division algorithm for polynomials is also going to remain same with little variations. So let us see. Division algorithm will be same as it is, that is the dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. If p of x and g of x are any two polynomials where g of x is not equal to 0, then we can find polynomials q of x and r of x such that p of x equal to g of x into q of x plus r of x, where r of x equal to 0 or degree of r of x should be less than degree of g of x. This is known as division algorithm for polynomials. Now let us understand the meaning of this division algorithm. Here, if p of x is a polynomial that we want to divide by a polynomial named g of x, then we get the answer, that is quotient, as q of x, and remainder is going to be our r of x. Then this algorithm says that we can obtain p of x, that is the polynomial p of x, by multiplying g of x and q of x and adding r of x, that is remainder, to this product. Then we are going to get p of x. But we should remember one thing here, that r of x should be equal to 0 or degree of r of x should be less than degree of g of x, that is nothing but divisor. See, this is an important concept that we must remember, because 1 mark problems can be directly asked in the exam when write the division algorithm for polynomials. Then you have to write p of x equal to g of x into q of x plus r of x, and writing only this much is not sufficient. You should also write where r of x is equal to 0 or degree of r of x is less than degree of g of x. With this we are going to finish this detailed revision of polynomials chapter. Stay tuned for the next videos of next chapters from the mathematics. Till then, goodbye and thank you.